Welcome back to Adventures with Void, as my amazing girlfriend Butter, our dog Echo the Galgo, and me, Void, continue our journey across Canada for day 2 of our road trip from our home on Vancouver Island to the province I grew up in, New Brunswick. For day 2, we'll begin in Peachland, a town in the Okanagan Valley in British Columbia, and end in the Willow Rock Campground in Alberta. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date on the progress of our road trip. We began our day's travels with some McDonald's coffee before hitting the aptly named West Side Road to tour the west side of Okanagan Lake. The drive offered breathtaking cliffside views alongside massive drops and winding narrow roads overlooking the backdrop of the ever-present Okanagan Lake in the early morning. We continued north past the lake into the interior heartland of British Columbia. You'd almost think we were driving through the set of Yellowstone with all the farming communities and agriculture. Our first excursion was in the sleepy town of Enderby, where we topped up our coffee at Enderby's Cafe. I'm not sure if this was intentional, but the name reminded me of the Ender's Game story, where the main character and his sidekick are named Ender and Bean, respectively. In any case, Enderby's was a great place to stop with a nice shaded patio in the extreme heat wave that was bearing down on us at the time. We just stopped in Endersby for coffee at Ender's Beans Cafe. And I don't know, we might get lunch here, still deciding. But we found a nice shady patio for the dog. Just a short stroll from Enderby's was Hungry Jack's Cafe. We sat down for some sandwiches. I got the daily special, which was a pulled pork Philly with a cup of corned beef soup. Both were really good. I also rubbed elbows with our server, who I found out moved to Enderby from Victoria. We connected as two folks in the hospitality mixology scene of Vancouver Island, and he gave us some great recommendations. Sutherland's Bakery and Deli on the way out of town, and further up the highway, Farmer John's Market. Sutherland's Bakery is an unassuming bakery and a gas station. Weird combo, I know. However, if you're a frequent traveler through Canada's more rural destinations, you'll notice lots of small businesses share a site with a gas station. And when you think about it a little deeper, it kind of makes sense, since lots of people driving through stop at gas stations. We mixed and matched a half a dozen donuts. My favorite out of the batch was the pistachio Long John. Overall, they have a lot of interesting flavors that are worth checking out. We decided to pass on Farmer John's Market, which is known for their hyper-local ice cream, produced wholly on-site with milk sourced by the cows in the building's yard. We were just too full to have ice cream after lunch and donuts. Continuing on our way, we passed the gorgeous Mara Lake and Sycamus, while the Rocky Mountain Whitecaps finally began to come into view as we entered the town of Revelstoke. Since we left late in the morning and were running pretty far behind schedule, we didn't stick around to check out Revelstoke for too long, but we did drive through the entrance to town on the way to get gas, and felt like it'll have to be a place we check out closer in the future. Past Revelstoke, we continued along the Trans-Canada Highway, spotting wildlife such as bears, elk, and deer. We drove through the awe-inspiring Rocky Mountains, along sections of tunnel, rock slide barriers, and elevated highway where we passed through Golden. Fun fact about this section of highway, the British Columbia portion of the Trans-Canada was not only the longest section of Trans-Canada to finish, but also the most expensive. The sections of highway between Revelstoke and Golden were the most challenging to build, and when you see these jaw-dropping videos, it's pretty clear why. After Golden, we went through the nearby Yoho National Park on our way to the BC-Alberta provincial border, our first provincial border and time zone change on our journey. Along with the provincial border crossing also came our entry into the impressive Banff National Park. Okay, so we decided we're gonna stop in Banff. So obviously not going the Rocky Mountain House, route, which also means we're gonna take an extra day because we really wanted to check out Banff on the way there and not the way back, so that's what we're doing. We are going to camp outside of Canmore. It's getting pretty late, so hopefully we beat the end of daylight. As is the theme for day 2 of our journey, we didn't have a ton of time since we were chasing daylight at this point, but we opted to pull into Banff Village for dinner and a chance to stretch the dog's legs. We drove through the village to stop and park near the information center, where just across the street was our dinner destination. Hanky Banff is a Korean street food restaurant that specializes in corn dogs. They do have an extensive menu including rice bowls, fries, and shaved ice, as well as some other goodies, but we came for the corn dogs and a rice bowl. I have to say, with the price plus the quality of food, this was a home run for us. Much cheaper than we were expecting for a resort town, and the unique food options left us pretty satisfied. As Canada's first national park, Banff did not disappoint. From there, and with daylight fading, we rushed through Canmore to reach our campsite in the Bow River Provincial Park's Willow Rock Campground. We got there late and weren't able to buy firewood, unfortunately, but considering that we just ate dinner and the sun was setting, we opted to just set up our camp for some well-deserved rest after a long day of driving. And thus concludes day 2 of our road trip across Canada, from Vancouver Island to New Brunswick. We brought you 553 kilometers from the Okanagan to Bow River Park, adding onto our trip total, bringing us up to 1,141 kilometers traveled so far. Okay, just one last video for today.
Taking a recorder.
Echo settling in to basically take the entire sleeping mattress.
Jeez.
It is our bedtime. Maybe we'll play some Nintendo Switch. Who knows?
Oh my
wow,
God,
Echo. Jeez.
so different than usual.
All right. Good night, and we'll see you for day 3 in the morning. On day 3, we will continue the road trip with the next leg of our journey, from the Willow Rock Campground to Wainwright, Alberta. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll be seeing you again next time.